Thanks for joining us on an episode of BRG TV. I'm your host, Zac Hill, but we've got a curveball for you today because I am also the guest. So joining us to host this show and ask me some questions is my teammate and friend, Chris Oakes. Welcome, Chris.
Hey, welcome, Zac. So good to have you on the show as a guest instead of the host. How you feeling
Yeah,
today?
it is a little interesting to be in the hot seat, so I'm curious how this will go, but appreciate you stepping up for the team and leading the interview today.
Absolutely. I'm going to do my best Zac Hill impression. So I'd take mercy on you so you didn't have to figure out a way to interview yourself. That could be weird.
Yes, it would.
So
It
yeah,
would have. I had a few ideas, but this will be better for sure.
right. Cool. Well, hey, let's jump right into it. Zac Hill, welcome to the show. I think at this point, most of us know you're a real estate agent, but you do so much more for Burris Realty Group. We can get into that a little bit later, but let's start with tell us a little bit about how you got into real estate. What journey brought you here?
Yeah, that question usually brings up two answers, and they're in chronological order. One is when I was younger, I knew I wanted to move out of the small town I grew up in. And while Archbold, Ohio is near and dear to my heart, I knew I wanted to go somewhere else. And I knew I wanted to be in business, but I didn't know what that meant. And so went to college. I have a business management degree. But on the other side of that, I learned, well, who is going to trust me to manage their business as a graduate out of college? And this was 20 some years ago, where you couldn't be an online entrepreneur yet, and a lot of those things didn't exist. We still went out in the workforce as our primary means of opportunity, I guess.
Yeah.
To date myself a little bit, but I say that because I got through school and I was working toward my goal, but I didn't know how to apply it yet. And surrounded by a lot of people trying to help me. I was also pretty stubborn and probably even missed a few opportunities that were in front of me around that time. But
Sure.
around that time, I started to volunteer with a youth group that was close to our school, made a lot of connections that way, and eventually accepted a job to work for that same youth group. So over a number of years, met a lot of people. And around that time, I was approached to get involved in real estate. And while it was interesting, the long and the short of it is I was the primary breadwinner. My wife was stay at home with our son at the time, and we couldn't risk going to zero income.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I
A
don't know,
little
Chris.
bit of pushing the ball up the hill your first year or so in real estate, right?
For sure. And they were very clear about that. So looking back on it, wishing I would have built a career at that time, woulda, coulda, shoulda, but didn't say yes.
Yep.
So to try to still stay on topic here, it was in my world, but I hadn't committed to it yet. And for maybe 5 to 10 years, kicked it around, wondered about it.
Oh, wow.
And eventually the timing was just right to connect with a team that I trusted, that believed in me, and helped me see that the network I had around me would help find those sales. But ultimately, what I liked, since I found it later in life, how did I find real estate? It was a neat way to connect the younger version of Zac that wanted to be an entrepreneur and didn't know what that meant yet, and wanted to serve people for an income, which is what I did in my job with the youth ministry. And so through the variety of roles that I served people prior to real estate, it was just a really cool combination of the two that I'm really grateful to keep doing to this day.
Yeah. I knew a little bit of that story, obviously, because you and I have been hanging out a little bit together, and it's cool to see what I perceive is, what you learned and your experiences in the ministry kind of translate over to real estate. You definitely have a servant's heart. You know how to talk to people. You're always upbeat and looking on the bright side of things. So I think it's cool to see how that kind of meshes together in you.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. It's kind of you to say, and I think we share that in common on our team. That's why I enjoy working with you and the rest of the Burris Realty Group, because we value service over sales. I couldn't do this job any other way.
Sure.
It's a hard job, but we get a chance to help people in one of their one of their biggest and sometimes hardest transactions in life. And so they need somebody they can count on, just like you and the rest of the team. And I'm grateful to be on it as well.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. Well, hey, you didn't mention it yet, but I know this about you. You did not start your real estate journey with Burris Realty Group. You
That's
eventually found your permanent home. Fingers crossed. But tell us a little bit about how you ended up with Burris Realty Group and how you ended up in Central Indiana.
That's a great question. It was a interesting and dare I say pretty hard journey to make a transition to Indianapolis from Fort Wayne. And so that's the end of the story. The beginning was between dating, marriage, and raising our children. We had nearly 20 years experience in Fort Wayne. And so, we had a strong network there. And as our kids have gotten older, my wife was anxious to kind of find out what her journey was professionally, and certainly a fantastic person, but still in her own heart was looking for that peace. And so as she looked to find that in Fort Wayne, just kind of found some dead ends, and certainly to nobody's fault, but one call to our very small network in the Indianapolis area, they said, "Can you start Monday?" And I think her answer was yes.
Yeah.
Well, it stressed me out quite a bit, but this was at the end of 2019 and the start of 2020. And so around that time, once, a very long story short, we had committed to come down. A mutual friend of Clay, Burris, and myself introduced us to each other. And so out of the gate, it wasn't this magical relationship, but there was enough there to have another conversation. I respected Clay's experience. I respected what he was doing. And I saw a guy that had every opportunity to slow down and just let business come to him. He even 3 years ago kept fighting to be the best version of himself, was talking to me because he wanted to grow our team, Chris, the team you were already on. And so a couple meetings later, it might have been across a month or two, our family moved from Fort Wayne to Indianapolis at the start of 2020. And I don't know if you guys had a say in it or not, but Chris, you were on the team. Megan was as well. And I made teammate number 4. And we got to know each other really fast, because within a few months of 2020 starting, we were all told to stay home and figure out how to be realtors.
That's right. We definitely had a say in it. I remember the powwow. Of course, we do it every time we bring a new agent on, but I think we're all unanimous in welcoming you to the team. So yeah, that was fun.
Looking back, it was a very, very difficult transition for me, because I'm so relational that I knew moving an hour and a half down the road meant those relationships looking a lot different.
Yeah.
And especially in our business. But not to discredit Amanda, I wouldn't have it any other way. And I think our trajectory is far more up and to the right because of that transition. And we're just so grateful for where we are, the relationships we have. And quite honestly, as adults, the real relationships stuck up in Fort Wayne. And certainly no disrespect intended in that comment. But the real friends are still there. And the beauty of technology is they're a text or a FaceTime away. And shoot, when we want to hang out, they're just up the road. So that's a good question. It really hits home with me. But all credit to Amanda for seeing the opportunity and pushing our family to do it.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, you mentioned that it was difficult. You mentioned creating new relationships. It brings some new questions to mind. I know you and Clay are pretty close. You guys both, I feel like every time I pop into the office to print something or to get some advice or whatever, you guys are always both there. I know you spend a lot of time together. It's cool to see that relationship grow. And I know that you have taken on more roles than just a real estate agent with the company. So I mentioned it earlier. Do you want to talk a little bit more about everything that you do, from support to social media to even helping out with some of the umbrella companies that are BRG?
Yeah, it's crazy to think how to answer that, because coming out of your previous question, when we moved down here, it was kind of sink or swim, and there were a few things in place to protect that decision, but long term, what was going to happen. So in our fourth year down here, yeah, I'm so grateful for the hand up that Clay and his wife Ashley and family have offered us. He's really been the bridge to coming down here with a few friends to really making it our home and our business, and whatever success we've had, he's had a key role in that. So we're so grateful. That includes, I started as a transaction coordinator and realtor. There was a part-time job available that he saw I could fill and still try to build a business. So I didn't come down here with a zero floor like I kind of talked about earlier.
Sure.
And that's with just so much respect and gratefulness to you and the team as well. That meant I was touching all of your transactions and you had just met me. And so it was grateful to have that trust. And unless you guys are all hiding something from me, it went well. And so we were able to build on that to start to make some of my own sales, serve our team. And then, time compounded where we saw some opportunity because we all worked together so well. Clay saw some opportunity to offer me. He's always been so gracious and fair. He's always given more than he's taken. And that's evolved my role into some team leadership. I'm grateful to do anything from running our Monday meetings to kind of being at least 49% responsible for what the public sees. I'll always respect Clay's decision to veto anything. But for a long time, I've had his trust, and I have passwords to everything, and dare I say, responsibility to get things done instead of being asked to do them at this point.
We haven't disappeared in the night with all of our money yet, so we're grateful for that. And you mentioned the Monday meetings. I think pretty early on, once you joined the team, Clay tasked you with leading our meetings, and it's been great. I think you have a natural leadership ability. So kudos to you for just swooping in here and making friends and taking that up right away.
Y'all made it easy, and I think I've learned that it's special what we have. It's not a given. It takes the right people to commit to working together, to trusting each other, and at the end of the day, it's personality driven too, right? And so you guys already had a culture, and I'm so grateful that it was such a good fit to join you. I guess the last part of that, there's just so much in my mind. I'm sorry I can't be more succinct, but currently in 2023, I'm also proud to be a co-owner of Shield Property Management Group with Clay and our teammate Matt D'Angelo. And then like you and our team, I'm cheering on Total Home Services, which is our third business, that they all somewhat serve each other. But, we just love the owners of Total Home Service, and it's fun to work with them. I don't have a say in that company, but glad to be around it, a part of it, and support it however we can. So I don't know, back to giving credit to Clay. We're never settled. We're never done. We're never in cruise control. And so there's always something. And I'm really enjoying being a part of not knowing what every day is going to look like.
It's true. He's definitely the driving force behind the team. I think in our busiest year as a team, he decided, hey, we need to create more companies to help serve our clients better, and just started rolling with it. And
we did. We all saw the need. It certainly has resulted in some more work, that's for sure. But at the end of the day, it's all to help provide the best experience for our friends, our clients, people we don't know yet, and hopefully we all benefit from that in the end.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's great to be a part of it. I feel like I'm with a company that adds value more than just, the point of sale. So it's been great.
Absolutely, man.
Well, hey, we're going to shift gears a little bit. I know you mentioned that you moved to Indianapolis. I know you're kind of in a gray area over on the east side where you're maybe Pendleton, maybe Fortville, maybe Fishers, right over there in the corners of all those. And you're somewhat new to town. So tell us a little bit about what you like to do over in Pendleton. What do you and your family get into when you're not real estating?
Yeah, loaded question for sure, but I'll hit a couple points. We thought we'd move to Noblesville. That's where our friends were. We even had an apartment there when we moved down, as we were looking for a home and trying to figure out what's next. And that's when our real estate market just went crazy, because while COVID shut us down for a second, then it just got flaming hot. And we knew Carmel and Noblesville better than we knew anything. But as we started to consider where our home would be, we recognized we could either buy a 20-year house in Hamilton County, 20-year-old house, or a brand new house in Madison County. And as we started to look and do our homework, Madison really appealed to us and has since been such a great fit. And so we are proud to have Pendleton on our address. And in the end, we like that it took us a little bit away from the hubbub, while it's quickly moving out our way and getting busier and busier all the time. I know you've certainly seen that with your family over time. You know, no farmland is safe, but
that's right.
We love it out here because it's still a little bit green. Our kids certainly deserve to be mentioned, have just been amazing through all of this, and can't imagine them being anywhere else right now. Not because of what we think, but what they tell us. And so the hard work and the challenge has been worth it. You know, we're north of Fortville, just this beautiful little town that reminds me of home, but shoot, just down the road from anything you want in Indianapolis. And so somehow we got the best of both worlds. And I can, you gave me kudos for being positive. You and anybody else around me more knows I can get negative too. And it's easy to pick out where we lose. And so I'm really happy to share on this video that this was a win for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
What we enjoy doing, that was part of your question though. What we enjoy doing is, gosh, anything from going down in the city and taking on a lot of things people like. You know, when the ticket price is right, we'll try to catch a Colts game or a Pacers game. But
there you go.
We love walking down on the canal or just going somewhere to eat that we don't normally go. We used to do that when we lived in Fort Wayne, and so that's kind of a fun tie to our history. Otherwise, you know,
exploring new areas, right?
Yeah. There's some awesome parks that we like to get outside to, and then they're starting to get really involved in their school, and so in terms of what we do as a family, most of the time we're going to something that they are involved in.
That's awesome. Well, hey, I've got one more business question for you, and then we've got a fun question, and then we'll move on to the lightning round, the speed round, I guess, as you like to call it. So we've learned a little bit about what you've done in real estate. We talked a little bit about what you're currently doing. I'm interested to know, what are your goals? Clay pushes us to always write down our goals and always have a plan in mind. So maybe just as a more direct question for you, tell us about a 1-year goal and a 5-year goal that you have for your business.
Ooh, I'm a little fidgety in the hot seat. I like when the role is reversed. I'm much more comfortable there. You know, a 1-year goal is to remain profitable in both real estate and property management. Our market is anything but consistent. And so it's easy for me in my mind to want to pivot, to want to try something else on, or to add something to try to fix it. And so my 1-year goal is in all reality to stay consistent with what we know that works. Yeah. Not miss the little things, not miss a personal note to somebody that we were all doing to grow a business, but do that from the right heart, to stay active in open houses or meetings where you have the chance to just meet people, demonstrate your service, and give the potential client a chance to come to you instead of force yourself on them. I don't like interruption marketing. I'd rather be more attractive and to have that person say, "You look like somebody I'd like to work with."
Yeah, absolutely. Well said.
That would be 1 year. 5-year, and this might not age well, but 5-year, I can see transitioning out of a full-time realtor role because I really enjoy leadership. I think I have more to learn. Certainly, I don't maybe think you're ever done, but I think there's also some continued self-discovery at this stage in life where I can try to refine skills, maybe add 1 or 2, and then bring that to the market that I'm getting to know better with relationships, both personal relationships that I'm developing, but then the quantity of relationships that I'm that I'm starting to put into just such a special new community. That's the word down here
Yeah.
that for so long, I've talked about, somewhat missing still in Fort Wayne. It's really neat to pause and go, but look at the relationships that are developing here. And I just wonder, how can I best serve our community through Burris Realty Group and Shield and whatever else might come of that, with our team and whatever that form and shape looks like over the next 5 years, and with our community and whatever happens over the next 5 years. So
Yeah.
I just can't settle. I want to grow. And
Well said. Well said. You know what? We're 40, but we're not dead yet, right? So
not at all.
continue to grow and evolve.
I remember your answer. Everybody, if you're watching this, make sure you watch Chris's too, because Chris has a goal to retire early and do life his way. And I'll tell you, that's a piece of mine too. I just don't have clarity on what that looks like, but I'm surrounded by people that want to help me be the best. So I'm in no hurry to leave them. And I know you're not either.
Love it. Love it. Very well said. Well, hey, it's been great getting to know a little bit about your business, a little bit about your history in real estate. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, for you and I, at least. I know you have a big passion outside of real estate that we haven't mentioned yet, that you and I actually get to share together. So why don't you break the ice on that one?
I love it. If you don't know Chris Oakes or Zac Hill, look up Chris Oakes, longtime Indianapolis musician, music lover, probably one of the rare people that you can meet that played music professionally, paid the bills, did the grind. There's so much more to it than you probably think. And the reason I know that is because Chris brought me into that world several years ago now. And just so proud to be in a band with you called Hill and Oaks, that we play almost too much, where we're trying to make sure our wives and our family are happy and we still serve our clients well, because Indianapolis has such a great music scene. There's so much opportunity, and there's so many people that love music down here that it's certainly a passion of mine, but really special at this point in life to find you as a friend and as a musician, where we just gel so well together. We like so much of the same music, and when we take that out in public, people tend to have a good time. And so, Hill and Oaks has been a fun surprise. All credit to you for getting me out of my shell and inviting me out to the places I didn't know about and the things I was nervous to try on. And
I'll tell the story
without you.
I'll tell the story quickly because you didn't. I'll see if I can give you the condensed version. But Zac joined the team. I think we knew early on that you dabbled in music, as you put it. You were very humble about it, kind of like Garth in Wayne's World. Like, I like to play, thanks. And so I was like, hey, why don't we go have some drinks and go to an open mic one night? Bring your guitar and we can each play a few songs. And so I played a few. Zac got up there and played a few songs, and I think we were all instantly like, oh, this guy wasn't letting on. Like, he can play. He knows what he's doing up there. So that was a fun surprise. And then I think at the end of the night, there was nobody else signed up. You and I jumped up there, played a few songs together that we had never practiced, rehearsed, or anything, and it just kind of worked, and then blew up from there. So yeah, Hill and Oaks has been great fun over the last few years. Excited to share that with you, man.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. That means a lot. I'll always give you credit and appreciate again that you returned to the scene, because I believe around that time you weren't playing a whole lot and making sure your business and family was taken care of. And so I think the timing was just right, let alone just the music chemistry. So won't bore people with more of it from my point of view, but always grateful for that. And depending on when you watch this, hillandoaks.com, look us up. We'll play some music for you.
That's right. Well, hey, we've covered a lot of ground today, Zac. I want to ask real quick before we get to the lightning round, is there anything you were really hoping to talk about today that I didn't ask you about?
You did such a great job, Chris Oakes. I think you've got the radio voice for this.
Thank you very much.
Oh, man, thank you. You came well prepared with questions. In these Burris Realty Group videos, we're just trying to cover ground between who we are as people, what we do around the community. And then, for whoever clicks on this, they've got upwards of 8,000 realtor opportunities around Indianapolis, right, Chris? So how do we separate ourselves? I think it's just being true to who we are, being the most knowledgeable we can be in our field, and then just being real And at least with the sphere that I've started to create, those are the people I connect with. I'll never be the suit and tie realtor. So if that's what you're looking for, on to the next. I'd rather be real, sometimes a little raw, and know that you can count on me to be in your corner. So, I just always want to give credit to Amanda for the success that we are grateful for supporting me when I'm frustrated or unsure of what to do. And she's definitely the strength in our relationship there. And she's for anyone that knows her, she's the quiet one between us. I'm the big mouth, but she's the strongest between us. And always grateful for the kids, because not only does real estate take us out of the house, but so does the band. And so I know you and I try really hard to find creative ways and fun ways to give our time back and just celebrate them. And if you wouldn't have brought it up, I would. I appreciate the band and my friendship with you so much, buddy. And I appreciate you hosting the interview today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been fun. Can't wait to see what's next on BRG TV. Well, hey, let's get to the lightning round. We're wrapping up time here. So I think the same questions that you've asked every interviewee so far. Let's get right to it. As a musician, this one's tough, but what's your favorite band?
It's Aerosmith for me. That might surprise people, but they changed the way I thought about music. And I love a ton of bands, but Aerosmith is my favorite band. And we just mortgaged our home to go see them on their final tour. One more time, seen them a whole bunch of times. Amanda likes them. Favorite band, Aerosmith.
I love it. That's great. Well, hey, I know this about you. You love a deal at a movie theater, and you take the family out to see movies often. What's your favorite movie?
Tuesdays. My favorite movie that I would watch no matter what would be Back to the Future.
Nice.
I love That Thing You Do. I love Armageddon.
All right.
I like a lot of movies, but I will go with Back to the Future all day.
Good choices. Makes me want to go rewatch those. Maybe some of our followers will do the same. What about just self-bettering topics? So a favorite book or a favorite podcast or a favorite YouTube channel or guru that you like to follow?
Right. I've got an answer for every point you just made, but a book that really changed my life is called Strengths Finder, because, and I think it's by Gallup. There's now Strengths with an S, Finder, singular, 2.0. And that book changed my life because, on the journey to self-discovery, most of my life, I feel like we've always tried to, what you're kind of good at and what you're not. Like math is an easy one in school.
Yeah.
So if you're not good at math, I've got kids in school. What do we tend to focus on? The bad grades, right? Like what you didn't do well and how we can get that up. Well, in school, we got to get them passed. We got to get them through school. What happens when you're an adult? Strengths Finder, I get so fired up about it. What if we flip that and go, hey, as an adult, what if you focus your time on the top 4 or 5 things you're great at? My big mouth and wanting to be in front of people. For so long, I always tried to put that to the side and fit in over here. And I'm already seeing in life that no, lean into your strengths. It's pretty obvious when you say it out loud. Learn how to do those well. And you'll be so much better in those strengths than you would trying to make something you're not very good at just a little bit better. So Strengths Finder.
I love that concept. Yeah. Rather than being a jack of all and master of none, just play to what you're already good at, right?
Yeah.
That's great. Good answer. All right. Switching gears a little bit. Favorite restaurant?
Woo. Can it be a tie?
Yeah. Favorite 2 restaurants?
I'm gonna say Parks Place Pub and Fox Gardens Smokies up in LaPel.
Oh yeah, I've been to both. Great spots. And
I love them.
Hill and Oaks plays at both of those spots occasionally. So
plug. And you know what? That's not why I said it, but that's why I love them, because the food is great, but the people are greater.
It's true. Good answer. All right, final one. What's a big goal for yourself that you want to achieve? We talked about 1 year and 5 year business goals, but this one can be broader. what kind of personal goal would you like to achieve?
Um, we um, we talk about financial independence a lot, and the idea that in this world there are so many opportunities to grow. Being in the biggest city in Indiana, there's only opportunity there. I don't want into financial independence to be rich. I want financial independence for time.
Absolutely.
Um, and so, how do I find that and continue to work and serve and give that back to my wife, to my children, to my friends, to my community? I think that's what I see on the other side of that. And so, I think you left me a broad enough question to say, I think financial independence is my goal because I've seen people find that, and I'm envious where they're at on the other side of it, not because of things, but because of the other doors that opens for them. And I know you and I have that in common.
Yeah. Time is a more valuable asset than money. So well said.
Sorry.
Well, hey, we're approaching 30 minutes. I think that pretty much puts a bow on this interview, Zac. It's been a pleasure having you on, turning the table a little bit and getting to ask you the questions instead of you being the interviewer. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. If you haven't already, we have videos for each one of our agents where Zac gets to run them through the ringer like we got to do to him today. I think we've got 2 more to add, but there's 4 or 5 videos out there already. So thanks again for tuning in. As always, keep Burris Realty Group in mind for your real estate needs. We will see you next time.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks.